Hello and welcome to That British Homestead. My name's Nick, and today I thought I'd show you how I am refreshing my garden for spring. I know, I'm so excited about spring. Spring has almost sprung, although the weather keeps springing. Now it is very chilly again and it feels like winter. I'm very excited. We are so close to sowing. I can feel it, but I don't sow until February, so I won't be doing that until the half term there. Sorry guys, but that's what I decided to do. Although I will be doing my cold crops, that doesn't count as my spring sowing. I'm more talking about the wonderful crops, the warm weather crops. They're my faves. Who doesn't like peppers and tomatoes, guys? I love them. I love them. So here what I'm basically doing is I'm just refreshing these beds. Basically, I've got two of these bad boys, and what I'm going to be doing is refreshing them so that they are available and ready to rear and to go when the nice weather hits. So if you're anything like me, you're counting down the days until spring has sprung, which is the 20th of March. That's the day before my birthday, just FYI. And most importantly, that is only a couple of weeks before our last frost. Alright, I don't know about you guys, but my last frost is in the last week of April. Woo! That means that I plant out my tenders in May 1st. Well, I do every year. I have like these, I don't know if you guys have this, right? Where every year you do it. I don't know if you have this, but like every year I go ahead and I do like the same thing, right? So I always sow my frost tender things are in February half term. I'll always plant my potatoes on St. Patrick's Day. And there's like several things, like the longest day, I will always plant my garlics. And I think Boxing Day, you do onions, loads of things like that. It's just craziness. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to it, but I've just always done it. So I wondered if you guys had any sort of traditions that you like to do, because I think they're absolutely fab. So this is what I'm going to be doing, and every time I do a bed, right, I started off and I was like, oh, this is quite nice, and then I hated it again, and then I was like, I love this, and now I'm kind of like, oh, what am I going to do when the beds are done? I feel a little bit, I quite like it, because, okay, whilst I'm doing it, especially when it's raining and cold, I'm not going to sit here and say to you, yeah, I love it. But looking back now, it's just filling me with such accomplishment and joy and setting out the beds that I need. This is going to be my squash bed. And I love squash. I love squash a lot. So I'm really super excited about having the opportunity to have all of these squashes that we need to overwinter, so that basically I don't just turn into a cabbage, because in the winter that's a very strong possibility. I might actually turn into a cabbage because we eat enough of them. So it just kind of like varies out our diet. I really like the potato squashes. I've really enjoyed those this year, and I really want them to have a good start next year. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making sure that my squash is guaranteed for next year. So it's very exciting, I do know. And I've only got, I think it was like 3 beds left. I can't remember. I think it's 3. So I've got half a bed over this side to do, and I've got 1 or 2 left over there. I've actually gone ahead and completely done my Jerusalem artichoke bed. I've heavily mulched that. Now you might be thinking, but the Jerusalem artichokes will have a problem coming up. No, if you know anything about Jerusalem artichokes, you could shoot them into the sun and they'd grow just fine. It is something that I'm not really concerned about, because Jerusalem artichokes are so good at growing that they're going to grow absolutely anywhere. It's not an issue. So there's certain things I do want to keep doing, and these beds are priority number 1. But I'm thinking, after that, what am I going to do? Well, I have this idea, guys, and I think it's a good idea, but I'm very excited about it nonetheless. And my idea is to grow mushrooms down the paths. I know, very exciting. So I know, exciting stuff, be growing mushrooms in my garden paths. So I'm going to make sure that I heavily mulch them, because the variety of mushrooms that I'm going to be